What's going on, y'all? It's finally here. WandaVision series premiere, episodes 1 and 2 on Disney Plus. So, 2020 was a crazy year for a lot of reasons, right? But in terms of the MCU, it was the first year since 2011 that we didn't have a new entry at all, no new content. So, that makes WandaVision that much more special because of the long hiatus, all of 2020 without it. The last official MCU thing was Spider-Man Far From Home. And because it's the first official MCU show. So we all know they had the Netflix series and there had some ABC stuff and Hulu, but this is all tying together, ending in the movie. And this kicks off a bunch of shows for the year. So what I'm going to be doing is talking spoilers. I'm going to go over a recap of the details of the episode, raise some questions, give my opinions on it, and just kind of go through this journey. The main point is to get feedback, to hear from you guys, to discuss this as a community, and keep it moving from there. So, again, spoilers, and probably spoilers down below too. So, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, come back, talk about it, and let's go from there. So the official episode 1 title, no title, but the description, the official description on Disney Plus. Wanda and Vision struggle to conceal their powers during dinner with Vision's boss and his wife. So from a recap standpoint, WandaVision, you start with the Marvel logo and automatically I'm hype because it's been so long since I saw it. And then it transitions to black and white. So this is a throwback to those old shows, the I Love Lucy's, the Bewitched, and things of that nature, that era of things. So the newlyweds, Vision and Wanda, aka Scarlet Witch, they buy a house in the neighborhood of Westview, and they're settling into the new lifestyle. They've unpacked. They're having laughs in the kitchen. She's moving around stuff with her powers. It's a pretty cool little scene. There's a heart on the calendar, and neither one of them really know what the heart means. It turns out later on that when Vision goes to work, his boss's name is Mr. Hart, as you saw in the description. So they invite his boss and his boss wife's over for dinner to make a good impression so Vision can fit in well with the new boss and make a good impression, hopefully get a raise and get a promotion, etc. He talks about considering him management material at one point, but what Wanda does is she's at home and she's stressing out about what that heart means. The neighbor comes over. Dang, what's the neighbor's name again? Hold up. Geraldine. No, Geraldine is the black lady. Agnes. Agnes is the neighbor. So Agnes comes over and she's introducing herself to Wanda and doing the typical thing, and she's saying, what does that heart mean? And she's kind of guessing at it, and she's like, is it birthday? Is it an anniversary? And Wanda's like, oh, it must be an anniversary. So she gets all this in her head about what to do for an anniversary, not knowing that it's actually nothing to do with an anniversary. It's his it's Vision's boss's wife and boss coming over for dinner. At one point, it takes this weird, like, commercial break-esque stop, and there's a toaster commercial, and the toaster was made by Stark Industries, which was interesting. The only thing color throughout this whole episode is if you're looking at the toaster, the light on the toaster is blinking red. So, again, at this point, we don't know much. It's just playing out like a old sitcom would be with the canned laughter and all that. So the boss and his wife come home. Vision's doing calculations at work. He's talking to a coworker. They're getting along, etc. They come home. She surprises him, thinking that it's the lights all lit and stuff, not knowing that she had to cook a meal for the family, the boss, the Hart's family. The hijinks ensue. Crazy stuff going in the kitchen. Agnes brings over food, and she finally whips up together breakfast for dinner. And Vision blames it on the fact that she's from Europe, which is kind of funny. I was liking the vibe of it. I've watched a few of those old shows. I'm not gonna say I've watched all of I Love Lucy, all of Bewitched, start to finish, but I watched a few of the shows, and I thought it was a good first episode. So when they start eating, the boss starts to ask her these specific questions, like where are you from, and she starts to kind of freeze up. And I thought it was really interesting. Even the camera choices kind of switch from being those old timey shows to being a little bit more modern. Everything's still in black and white, but the angles that they were like portraying was a little bit more close. And I thought it was really, really interesting. The boss starts choking as she is kind of stuttering to think of the answers to the question. So they played it like there is definitely a link. And she says, Vision, help him. Vision kind of inserts, the Vision powers. He can go through things. He inserts, takes out the whatever he choked on. I think it might have been a strawberry. Not 100% sure. Only saw the episode one time. Definitely going to rewatch it. But anyway, saved them from choking. They said it kind of wraps up really abruptly. And they said, we had a good time. Vision, you impressed us, etc. And then they leave. So once Vision and Wanda are talking it out, they're talking about the fact that they don't have a real anniversary. They don't even have wedding rings, and they're newlyweds. So she manifests some wedding rings with her power. And that's kind of where that episode ends off. So luckily, we did get 2 back-to-back episodes, but overall, I thought the first episode was really cool. I forgot to mention that Vision's singing Yakety Yak, and I forgot that song was even a real song, but as soon as I heard it, I recognized the song. He first hears that at work on the radio from his friend. But anyway, do you feel like it was a slow start? Did you like the first episode? Regardless, you jump right into episode 2, and it kind of picks up still in that black and white, same sitcom-y feel. But one thing I really liked about the intro was it was like a throwback to the Jetsons. And I didn't even watch the Jetsons that often, but I definitely seen a few episodes here or there, and I picked up on it instantly that it was like the Jetsons. So it starts upstairs, episode 2, and the title of that and the description of that: in an effort to fit in, Wanda and Vision perform a magic act in their community talent show. So it starts upstairs. They're in separate beds. There's a noise scaring them both, and it's played really cheesy, really corny, with Vision getting scared. They're both scared, but he's really, really terrified. Wanda is like, you check it out type situation. She uses her powers. It's just a tree scaring them. There's a helicopter in a bush, and that's the only thing that you see initially that has colors. It has colors similar to Stark Industries. I thought that was kind of strange, but I don't know the significance there. Hopefully some of you guys do. Again, I'm just kind of recapping things at this point. So Dottie is the head of the planning committee for the neighborhood, and they're planning a talent show, as the description said, for the children, which they kept repeating, and I don't know the significance of that either, but either way, it was interesting. All the ladies are in skirts and dresses. She's the only one in pants, and Geraldine, the black lady that's next to her, makes a comment about that, saying, I would have been more comfortable like that too. But either way, Dottie's annoyed that they're getting on and chatting, not paying attention, and Agnes tells Wanda before the meeting that you basically have to impress Dottie to get along well in the neighborhood. She's the head honcho, if you will, kind of like the head of the Mean Girls Club. She's like a real, just typical strange lady. So while Wanda is going to meet up at the talent show and the talent show committee for that, Vision is going to the neighborhood watch, which is basically a gossip meeting for guys. And you meet a few of the characters that are a part of the neighborhood. You see his coworker again, and they're just having a good time carrying on. Vision cracks some jokes, but one of the key things that happens at that neighborhood watch meeting is a piece of big red gum. Vision eats it. It starts messing with him. He's part cyborg. If you don't know the start of that, watch Age of Ultron. I won't recap all of that. But just like the first episode where we had the little commercial break and something weird happened with that Stark Industries toaster, we see a watch. And the watch is a Striker watch, and it has the Hydra symbol on it. So again, weird stuff that's tying in. Nothing directly, just hints at it. But regardless, so Wanda and Vision, they're practicing for the talent show where they're going to do a magic act. And you see the talent show beginning to start, and a few other acts go on. Wanda and Vision's act goes on. Let me backtrack for a second. So I forgot the part where Wanda and Dottie are by themselves at the pool and they're talking to each other, and some weird thing happens on the radio where you hear a voice that's saying, "Who's doing this to you, Wanda?" So if you guys have thoughts on who that could be, I'd be curious because I have no idea who that could be. But you hear it multiple times. You also hear it at the end of the episode. "Who's doing this to you, Wanda?" So during that scene with the radio playing by the pool, Dottie shatters glass and it bleeds, and that's another hint of color. You see the red blood on her hand. Again, jumping back to the talent show, Vision shows up, and it's almost like he's drunk because of the effect of the big red hat on him. And so the talent show, he's not really supposed to use his magic powers. They want him to pretend and just put on a good show so that people in the neighborhood like them, of course. But because he's kind of acting drunk because of that big red gum, he ends up actually flying, and Wanda makes a rope appear to make it seem like, oh, okay, she pulled him up by the rope. He then ends up lifting up the piano, and Wanda makes it into cardboard with her powers to make it look like, okay, of course, anyone can pick up. And she picks it up. And she's like, oops. She's just trying to make it super obvious because he's acting really weird and he's going to give it all away. He does a card trick. There's nothing Wanda had to do to save that one. It was just really bad and kind of funny. Another guy from the neighborhood watch meeting. He pulls a hat out of himself. Instead of the rabbit, he pulls a hat out of himself. And she just kind of reveals that there's mirrors. And the cabinet trick they were practicing earlier, where Wanda was supposed to appear in the box or disappear once he put her in the box, that goes awry. And Geraldine, the one that she met at the pool meeting, they make her appear in the box. She asked later, like, how did that happen? And they joke around. A magician never reveals their secrets. So that goes successful. Dottie actually gives them a blessing, shouts them out, saying that it was hilarious, comedy, etc. It goes over real well. So they get home and things start to get even stranger. All of a sudden, they're kind of reflecting on the day, and magically she's pregnant. But they hear a noise outside. They go outside, and there's a beekeeper that comes up from the sewer, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And she just says, no, this isn't going to happen. And she rewinds it to where they first got home again. Again, she's pregnant, and they just kind of kiss, and it ends in that way. But all of a sudden, color comes into the fold, and it's like something out of that one movie where all it goes from black and white to color, and it's almost in a new era. So it's like the TV show sitcom format is progressing eras. And we all knew that was going to happen from the trailers. But you hear that voice again, that who's doing this to you, Wanda? So everybody knows that Scarlet Witch Wanda has a lot of different powers, and she's one of the more powerful Avengers. So it's really cool seeing how this kicked off. Some of the questions I have going forward off of the first episode and this episode, you're definitely getting some horror vibes with the boss choking on the first episode. A lot of comedy throughout, but this weird feeling of I don't know exactly what's going on. So, one, whose voice is that? Do you think it was smart to have both episodes back to back? I do personally. I think it was smart. I have no guesses as to whose voice that was, but even if they gave us the one episode, I would have been satisfied. I would have definitely stuck with it and kept going because I was entertained by that. But the pairing the two together if you had doubts about the first one and you see the second one and you see like the progression, it makes you more invested. And the fact that this is all going to tie into movies, I've seen every single MCU movie in theaters. I'm sure a lot of you have too. They've are some of the highest grossing films of all time, not excluding Endgame, which is the highest grossing film of all time. So do you think the first episode started slow? Do you think the series in general started slow? Are you invested? If you had to rate it like 1 to 10, how dug in are you at this point? What are you expecting? Do you have any predictions for next week? I'm going to try to do this every single week just to kind of vent my thoughts out into the world. I haven't read the comics, so I'm coming in at a pretty blank slate. I've seen, again, all the MCU movies, and I've seen several of them multiple times. So I really enjoy it. I'm Marvel over DC, as you can see in several different places. But yeah, man, that's what I thought. What did you think? Let me know. I'm going to keep this train moving all season, all year, really. So not really just WandaVision. We got Captain America Winter Soldier. We got Loki, and going from there. But let me know what you thought. Let me know what I missed. I'm sure there were some highlights that were maybe your favorite moment and I skipped over it. Fine, that's perfectly cool. I'm just trying to recap all the major points and really just go on this journey to see where we go next. Later.